This right here is the Redmi Note 13. It is one of the phones that is boasting to be the king of the mid-range space right now. Currently, this device goes for 225,000 naira for the base model. And we're going to be putting that up against the Infinix Note 40, which is arguably one of the best mid-range or Note devices that Infinix has ever made. And this device currently goes for 325,000 naira. Now, forget about the small price difference. Both of these devices are challenging the same space. Both of these devices are claiming to be the king of mid-range. Which one should you buy? If you wanted to make a decision right now, should you go for the Redmi Note 13 or you should go for the Infinix Note 40? Let's find out. Now, the frame and body of both devices are made out of plastic. Both devices are rocking a boxy shaped design as you'd expect for devices in 2024. This boxy shaped design seems like a common design nowadays. The frames and edges of both devices are completely flat. The edges of the Infinix Note 40 seems to be a little bit sharper than that of the Redmi Note 13. But don't worry, it's not razor sharp, so it's not going to cut your hand or it's not going to slice through your palms. The Infinix Note 40 has a big camera bump at the back of the device that houses the triple cameras and a large ring light, while the cameras and the ring light on the Redmi Note 13 are standing individually with no island surrounding them. Now, this is something that is subjective. Do you like the camera design of the Infinix Note 40 or that of the Redmi Note 13? I'll just leave that for you to decide on that. Personally, I think both of them look cool. On the right side of both devices, you'll find the volume up and down keys and the power button. Notice that both manufacturers have abandoned the side-mounted fingerprint readers that used to serve as the power button. I stand corrected, but I think this is the first time an in-display fingerprint reader is coming to an Infinix Note series device. At the bottom of the Infinix Note 40, there is a SIM tray that can only take 2 SIM cards with no space for SD card. While at the bottom of the Redmi Note 13, you find a SIM tray that can take 2 SIM cards or 1 single SIM card and an SD card. To me, that is a plus for the Redmi. If you're somebody that uses just 1 SIM card, then you can buy the Redmi Note 13, put 1 SIM card, and you can add your SD card to your device and use it. But note that you can't use 2 SIM cards and the SD card at the same time. Now, at the top of both devices, the Redmi Note 13 comes with the signature infrared blaster that Xiaomi devices usually comes with, that is usually used for remote control. There is a second speaker here. There's a mic outlet. Now again, this is something that is subjective. Personally, I wouldn't mind both devices coming with a headphone jack because the space that these devices are competing in, almost every devices around there have headphone jacks, and most people that will buy these devices in this category will not mind a headphone jack in the devices. But again, the headphone jack is something that is dying. It's something that most manufacturers like Samsung have let go since like 2 years ago. So finally, Infinix has let it go in the Note series. Both devices come with AMOLED displays. The Infinix Note 40 has a bigger display, which is 6.8 inches, while the Redmi Note 13 has the smaller display, which is 6.7 inches. The bezel on the Infinix Note 40 display is thinner than that on the Redmi Note 13. And also, the edges of the Infinix Note 13 display are a bit more curved than that. When it comes to the brightness of both devices, the Infinix Note 40 display is measured at around 1,300 nits, while the Redmi Note 40 is measured at about 1,000 nits. And this is something that you can physically see when you handle both devices. You can easily just look at them and tell that the display on the Infinix Note 40 is far brighter, more vibrant, and it looks more superior to the display on the Redmi Note 13. Both devices have a 120Hz refresh rate, but the refresh rate on the Infinix Note 13 seems to be more responsive. I mean, you could see that when you're trying to swipe very fast or perform fast activities, you will notice that the Infinix lags a bit, but the Redmi is super responsive when you are doing things very fast. Now, the Redmi Note 13 is protected by the Corning Gorilla Glass 5, while the Infinix Note 40, there is no specification actually on the kind of glass that was used. It is only specified that it's Corning Gorilla Glass, but the level of protection is not specified. And this is something that Infinix is actually known for. Most times they don't even tell you what kind of glass protection they use. You just know that there is glass on it. But other manufacturers most times will actually mention that you have Corning Gorilla Glass 5, Glass 3, or whatever. Overall, when it comes to the display of both of these devices, the Infinix Note 40 has a better display. And I think the display on the Infinix Note 40 is one of the best displays I have seen on a mid-range phone competing in this category. And I think it's the best display that Infinix has ever put on any Note series. I think I'm beginning to sound like Apple. This is the best iPhone we've ever made. The Redmi Note 13 is powered by the Snapdragon 685 chipset or the Mediatek Dimensity 6080 chipset, depending on the region that you're buying yours from. The one I'm using for this review currently is powered by the Snapdragon 685 chipset, while the Infinix Note 40 is powered by the Mediatek Helio G99 Ultimate. When it comes to daily performance, both devices can handle your day-to-day activities quite well. There will be no issues, there will be no lags. But when it comes to gaming, that is where the Redmi Note 13 starts falling behind. Call of Duty Mobile Warzone is like the biggest game right now, or the most task-demanding game that you can install on any mobile phone. So I went to the Play Store, I searched for Call of Duty Warzone on the Infinix Note 40. I found it, installed it, almost like 10 gigabytes. Everything went smoothly. But when it was the turn of the Redmi Note 13, I went to the store, I searched for Call of Duty Warzone, I couldn't find it. So I had to go on Google and search for it, and then I followed the link and came to the Play Store, and I was told that this device is not compatible. I mean, even if you can install it and play it at the lowest graphics settings, that is a plus. But hey, that's not the case here. Now, for the memories, the Redmi Note 13 comes with either 8GB or 12GB RAM options, and it also comes with 128 or 256GB internal storage options. And of course, all of this depends on your region. While the Infinix Note 40 comes with 8GB of RAM and 256GB internal storage across the board. So both of these devices are carrying 5000 milliamps battery. One of the major differences between the both of them is that the Infinix Note 40 can charge at 45 watts and it can charge wirelessly at 20 watts, while the Redmi Note 13 can charge at 33 watts and no wireless charging. And when it comes to the cameras, both of these devices are boasting of 108 megapixel main lenses. And I think those are the only lenses that matters on these devices. Other ones are almost not doing anything. Now, normally for me, it's not just about the sizes of the cameras or the megapixels or whatever. It is the real life performance that I usually go after. And when it comes to the real life performance, when you take pictures with both of these devices, you'll notice that the pictures on the Redmi Note 13 are a bit lighter. They are not so contrasty. While the pictures you're going to take with the Infinix Note 40, they are a bit contrasty. And here's the part where the Infinix actually gets the upper hand. When you zoom into these pictures on the devices, you actually notice that the pictures on the Infinix Note 40 have more details, while the pictures on the Redmi Note 13 are a little bit blurry. They are not as sharp as the one on the Infinix Note 40. And I think this is actually something I didn't expect to happen, because both of these devices are using the same sensor. And this 108 megapixel sensor on these devices are sensors that are known to be sharp. Like even on older devices from 2023 and 2022, all the devices that used this 108 megapixel sensor, they were actually very, very sharp when you take pictures. But that's not the case with the Redmi Note 13. I don't know what Redmi is doing differently, but the camera is not as good as that on the Infinix Note 40 when you take pictures. Now, when it comes to videos, both of these devices, none of them shoot up to 4K. They are both shooting 1080. Infinix Note 40 says it shoots up to 2K, but honestly, it's just a glorified 1080p. But when it comes to videos, that is where the Redmi Note 13 actually shines brighter. Taking videos with both devices, both the front and the back camera, you'll notice that the cases are the opposite. The Redmi takes sharper videos, and the videos are more detailed than those of the Infinix Note 40 when you look at them side by side. So at the end of the day, these are both very powerful devices, but it's just that one has to be better than the other sometimes, and the Infinix Note 40 seems to be the better device amongst both of these devices. But when it comes to the cameras, if I'm more interested in videos, I'll go for the Redmi Note 13. If I'm more interested in pictures, I'll go for the Infinix Note 40. But don't take my word for it. Still get both devices, check them out. See if you're going to like what the Infinix gives you or what the Redmi Note 13 gives you.